Hello and welcome to today's historic best of 3 deck tech gameplay video on Hardened Scales. Hardened Scales, of course, takes its name from the card itself, Hardened Scales. Basically, if a creature we control gets a 1/1 counter, it gets an extra 1/1 counter. So we use this card and other existing little +1/+1 synergies, like Winding Constrictor, which in the case of this deck basically functions as another Hardened Scales on a body. Or things like Grakmaw that benefit from other cards having +1/+1 counters and is also a payoff and kind of a synergy. And we just use various cards with +1/+1 counters on them, like Stonecoils or the Ebon Legion sometimes, and Polychronoses, to just beat our opponent down until they're no longer alive. We also have some other little support cards in like the form of Murderous Rider for removals or trophies for removals, as well as things like the Mask of Gristlebrand for some card draw and some life linking if we need to sort of stabilize our life total. And in a little mix of both utility and +1/+1 counter synergy, we have a couple of copies of Scavenging Ooze in the main board, which is both Graveyard Hate, as well as another card that can get bigger with +1/+1 counters. Land base, pretty remarkably simple. Shocks and whatever assorted good, relatively fast, or relatively smooth green and black mana. Also running a single Hive of the Eye Tyrant and Castle Lochthwain for some utilities, as well as a Lair of the Hydra for some utility lands if we happen to flood out. Also allows us to make our cards kind of go longer since we don't have the most amount of card draw outside of the Mask and the Castle. Sideboard, relatively simple. Leyline of the Void for graveyard decks, another Ooze for graveyard decks. Also have things like Ugins and Murderous Riders and Meathook Massacres to play a more controlling role if we feel we need to, as well as some Eliminates for some hate against early aggression, and a couple of Thragtusk if we need a sticky body to help our life total, as well as block opposing creatures, which also sort of net gains us life. Not only, again, from the life we get from the Thragtusk itself, but from whatever creatures it happens to kill or block into is also effective life gained. And that is the basics of a Hardened Scales deck. We'll go now into game number 1. In game number 1 with Hardened Scales, we'll go first because we have a brain in our skull. This is honestly a pretty good hand. A Hardened Scales on 1, Stonecoil on 2, and a Grakmaw on 3. We'll go ahead and keep that. It's basically most things you can want out of a good opener. See what our opponent plays. Swamp into, and if they have some sort of Thought Seize, no matter what they take, we have options this turn, so it's not the worst thing on the planet. I think we'll, now that since Thought Seize is off the table, we're certainly going to play the Stonecoil on 2. And unless otherwise, what's the word, disrupted, we'll just go with our aforementioned plan. Inquisition can get either the Grakmaw or the Stonecoil. We'll go ahead and Thought Seize and Stonecoil here. See what our opponent's running. Oh, okay, Mono Black Devotion. Let's see. 3 lands next turn. Honestly, I'm more concerned with the Shepherd since they have 2 Dredge, what's it called? Dredge Shades regardless. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just play the other Stonecoil. So game 1 will be Hardened Scales versus, what, Devotion to Black? Honestly, if they take the trade, we're pretty happy with that. Yeah, I didn't think they would. I suppose the question is now, what will we bring in the sideboard? another Hardened Scales is nice. Again, if they take the trades, we're pretty happy. Dreadshade's an okay card in this deck, I suppose. We are in a little bit of top deck mode, but that's not the worst thing. Go ahead. That was my mess up. I had totally forgotten what our opponent was doing. Yeah, bunch of Dreadshades. That is a thing you can do. I mean, I don't know if we should be really that concerned. We can only ever activate it once. There's no point in shocking it in. Go ahead and attack. If they trade, we'll just give the Knight Death Touch. Likely pretty good. Alright. Are you gonna spend your whole turn doing it? That's not the worst thing ever. One more and he's at Grey Merchant turn. We'll go ahead and immediately just get rid of the Dreadshade. Maybe we can bring in some Thragtusk since we might need to buffer our life total a little bit now that I think about it. Figure out what we'll bring in here. And Phyrexian Obliterator. Basically means we lose the game damn near. Go ahead and do it now. So yeah, maybe Thragtusk and a couple Ugins here? And we take out maybe the Thought Seizes since we don't want to be so cavalier with our life total. We largely kind of know what we're going up against. Okay, can only get rid of one, so we'll just go ahead and empty out their yard, even though I'm not entirely certain it's going to matter too much. If we find the Mask of Bristlebrand... Yeah, that's over. I forgot. That's cool. Then he swings out with the rest, and basically no matter what I do, it doesn't really matter. Riders are actually kind of useful here. So maybe Riders, Thragtusk, some Ugins. Get rid of Thought Seizes since we don't want to be so willy-nilly with our life total. Grakmaw's cool. Yeah, why not? I do enjoy it, though. I haven't seen a Mono Black Devotion in like a hot minute. So I don't even really care how this game goes. I'm just enjoying actually sticking around in gold for a little bit. Because gold, a little bit like the platinum above it, people like try things out. Significantly more fun, in my humble opinion. Please pardon the background noise. It's, you know, October-y, November-y, or November, pardon. And it's really cold where I live. It's actually 34 degrees, so I have the heat on so I don't die. This is okay. We can do something with that. Probably go ahead and Snarl and Knight here on turn 1. Able to hit the ground running early is nice. Maybe we just Stonecoil on 2? Do we Stonecoil onto 4-2, or do we Stonecoil and Swarm Shambler? Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Why not? We'll do Fungus, the Swarm Shambler first. Because, yep, sometimes they have rune spells. We have an Assassin's Trophy, so they get something big and scary out. Correction, we had an Assassin's Trophy. We no longer do. Honestly, that's not too bad. We'll go ahead and take a turn off here since we're not the most aggressive board state to grow the Swarm Shambler. That makes sense. Also, it's the whole not putting all your eggs in one basket kind of thing. They already know we have it, so I guess we'll just start applying a little bit of pressure. If they play a big scary creature, we have a rider. Kind of like that. Let's see what we draw next turn. We will go ahead and keep the swamp, since we can basically play all of our deck anyway. Or the vast majority of our deck anyway, I should say. We'll go ahead and play Thragtusk, why not? We're not really in a good position to just start throwing our board away, so I'm going to avoid doing that if at all possible. They can buff the Dreadshade out of the Thragtusk range to kill, which is a little less than ideal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, okay, I forgot we have Ugin, so we can actually just hold. Again, they can easily just spend 3 black on the Dreadshade's ability to kill our Thragtusk here. And then good shit like that happens. It's not the end of the world, though. Just spend some extra turns, slowly growing our Swarm Shambler. We're going to be in some real trouble if we don't find our particularly big boys. Finlurker's okay, since we didn't really have much to do with that turn anyway. I don't think he bothers to attack. I think he just sits there and builds up devotion with a largely defensive board. I will happily take the trade. Correctly keeps his mana open. And again, just slowly grow our Shambler. Okay, it's not exactly what I was looking for, but it'll do. Gonna be honest, if he attacks with the Obliterator, I might just take the trade, but I don't think he does. Honestly, I think, yeah, we might just attack here. 3 mana to grow at 1. I have to get rid of 6 permanents. But honestly, if I wreck his devotion, I'm kind of okay with that. And if we get rid of the Thragtusk, we can always just retain a body. So we get 1, 2, 1, 2, probably 3, 4. 5 goes back in our deck. So, yeah, we'll just wipe the board. I sincerely actually don't care that much. Better to clear the board when we have a relatively safe state in which to do so, to try and swing back the game in some manner. He can activate the Eye Tyrant here. He can only activate this once. Because mono black devotion, or devotion to black in this case, because it clearly has red, doesn't really Run combat. Oh, Cola gets command? Okay, that's fine. Ah, one turn too slow for that. Which is lovely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're almost at the point where we can play an Ugin if we draw it, which is nice. Almost certainly play the Obliterator. Grakmaw will do. Also gives me flying and lifelink, so I can largely ignore the Obliterator. And even if he kills the Grakmaw, the ensuing Hydra left behind can basically do the same thing and get suited up and start swinging in. Honestly, not actually the worst thing on the planet. Luckily, because of our Thorac Tusk, we've been able to take some turns off and buffer our life total here. See what our opponent does. Hi, Smokey, baby girl. What? Come hang out with Dad. Yeah, take the win. I like our sideboard strategy. I don't think we need to do a whole lot against it. Is that a true statement? Yeah, we'll go ahead and keep it. Hopefully we get this thing. Feeling pretty confident about this deck. Having spent, the last couple weeks actually tinkering with this thing. This is an awful hand. 3 lands, a scale, a trophy. What do we get rid of? Actually, I think it's smart to get rid of the Ugin. I actually don't want this to be in my hand. I want to draw it. Which sounds crazy out loud, but he's playing Devotion to Black. So he could it probably does have some lingering form of hand hate in here somewhere in that deck. Like the Yarok thing. Alright. Gifted Apricorn is a thing. Okay, I thought we just had a conversation about this Ugin. Do I get to choose the card, or does he get to choose the card? I'll do it. Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of the Death Toucher so we can actually attack in. We understand if he takes the trade, we are happy with that. But again, his game plan is kind of a little more wait and see. The fuck? Merfolks are actually kind of common. That's a very bold card to put in your deck in this particular meta. I mean, by all means, do you, but like, I don't think I agree with that decision. I'm gonna be honest, I might actually just chump this Murderous Rider away and be pretty happy with that, honestly. 3 life gained from the Dreadshade not hitting me, plus the 2 life. Gaining 5 life off of this is pretty goddamn sizable. Other than the Culligan's command, where does the red come in this deck? Or is that literally just for the only card? And maybe a Croxa, because that card's just generically good. That'll do. Let's see. Tap all. Turn 5 turns into 6 with a Hardened Scale on the field. It could very well just get immediately killed with some goofy-ish, like, walk the plank. Let's see. He has more than enough. Honestly, if he spends his whole turn pumping this thing, with what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then I just I just trophy it next turn. How big he decides to bump this thing is very telling of what's in his hand. Okay, so he's leaving 2 mana open for something. Okay, so it was... I mean, that's annoying, but, like, it's fine. We have another Assassin's Trophy if we need to. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not close, as close to Ugin mana as I would like. Pardon the alarm. Forgot if you, on my new phone, that turning the phone on silent does not turn the alarms on silent. Gifted Aetherborn. Not the coolest thing on the planet. We're low enough health that I don't like having to trophy this thing, but it needs to happen. Our life total is not in the most secure place. Yeah, Swarm Shambler is a thing. It almost assuredly dies like immediately. Actually gonna draw this now. Okay. Glucranos is a thing. We actually can't tap anymore. Hello, little girl. Go on. Dad'll hang out in a little bit. Okay, there's Dreadshade. If he has, Gary, we just die, right? Like, immediately? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, if he has Gary in his hand, we just die on the spot. But that's, you know, what are you gonna do? I can't really control that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, still uncomfortably far away from Ugin mana, which would be normally my feeling of safety, but just gotta hope he doesn't have it. I chump block all day. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's less mana you can pump into other things. Again, if he just draws it. Jeez. Then he has that. Okay. So we need like some very particular ish to go down, right? Okay, we're technically alive, but damn, not by much. 1 turns into 2. Yeah, we're alive, but it's not a good feeling. We're not alive by a wide margin. X equals 2 for the Hydra. Then we have to block 1 in each. We actually go down a land also, though, having to jump away like that, which is bad. Okay, Thragtusk is good. Does that save me? Go to 9. I block 1. Would I have been able to... Yeah, even if I would have, could have played a Pelucranos, I don't think that matters. Block 1, 5, 6, 7. I think it literally, yeah, just he attacks and then pumps 1 out of range. Alright, that's fair. Then he pumps it 6 times. I'll let him have this one. He earned it fair and square. Dreadshade is not a card in the few times you see, what's it called? Devotion to Black. It's not a card you often see. Okay, come on. Thank you. I was about to say, you get 1 more of those. That was pretty good. I like that. That was actually a very fun game. Anywho, on to game number 2. And game number 2 with our little Hardened Scales deck. This is honestly pretty good. Knight on 1, Constrictor on 2. Right, what is our opponent's sleeve? It's honestly a pretty cool little sleeve. We'll go ahead and Overgrown Tomb on 1. Why not? So he played a Thriving Grove? Green, black. Okay. We'll go ahead and keep with the original plan here. In the magical chance they have whatever that 2 mana card is that exiles a cheap thing and every other copy of it. Okay. Landlord Visionary doesn't really tell you very much. If they block, we happily pump and trade. If they let it through, we kind of actually have to pump and trade pretty much no matter what happens here, right? Yeah. And the 1 counter turns into 2 with our Winding Constrictor. It could be elves for our opponent's playing here. Okay, so he doesn't want the mana ramping here. What is our opponent doing? Yeah, he's holding some sort of removal spell, so we're just gonna try and flood the board real fast. Since with our Knight and our Constrictor, assuming they connect, which I don't think they do connect. They will pump all of our dudes. There we go. Okay, so this might be somebody's like a budget deck for somebody, which is fine. Okay, I love our opponent. This is great. This is unironically amazing. We'll go ahead and pump the Knight now. See what's in their hand with the Thoughtseize. And as the battlefield fights up to 1, you're on 5 mana. Probably get rid of the next skeletal swarming. Nah, probably the ape here. Our opponent is playing some very mean stuff. Honestly, I might actually need to get what I can out now. Don't they have to attack each turn? Combat available gets... okay. Oh, come on, man. I like your deck. I don't know what it is, so we're just gonna run my deck again and see what we run into. Again, I'm not certain what it is, but goddamn do I not love your style, man. It is fascinating, if nothing else. Let's see, they had Skeletal Swarming, and some Ugins, and old Black Praetor, Shrelod, whatever hell her name is. So it's like, it's all over the place. It's just like green, black, like, good stuff. Now, how good it is, of course, you know, your mileage will vary. But our opponent is just having some fun, so I'm not really gonna crap on their parade. It's not really my style. That's alright, it's not too bad. Take a look at what they got in their hand. Froghemoth, Grizzly Salvage, activated ability. There's very few activated abilities I gotta worry about. Skimfar, 5 mana, Trample Haste. I guess the Grizzly Salvage to get rid of their ability to put stuff in the graveyard. Doesn't play the Pithing Needle, which is again an option. We'll go ahead and play a Winding Constrictor. Let's try to develop the board a little bit. I mean, I guess you could... Alright. That does turn that thing off from attacking. Just play an Overgrown Tomb and play another one, I suppose. No point in attacking, since they have shown to have haste cards like the old Froghemoth dude. Let's see. We can play the Scavenging Ooze, which he might actually Pithing Needle, which would be not the worst thing. But he can't play the Froghemoth and the Pithing Needle, whatever you want to call it, this turn. So I'll take what I can get. What are you doing? Okay, it's okay. Again, just trying to hit him. Keep up with the Assassin's Trophy for some removal. He does play a land. Yeah, that does suck a little bit, but not that much actually. Here's the battlefield, fights, attacks, destroy an artifact. Cool. That is fine. Do what you feel is right. We do lose one of our scavenging oozes, but that's... Can you fight a dead thing? Yeah, I didn't think so. I've forgotten how that mechanic works. Quickly, get rid of it now. Before he activates a thing I can't do anything with now. Likely chooses the scavenging ooze. Yep. Which is 100% the actually correct thing to do. Does not mean, however, that I can't just, like, generally hit him. It's combat damage to a player, exile that many cards from the graveyard, 1 counter for each creature card. 1 life for each non-creature. Okay, that's actually a pretty good card. I mean, good on our opponent, I suppose. I applaud them for sticking through it, for their sort of weird reanimator, just like Golgari good stuff deck. Anywho, thank you all for watching. Remember to like the video if you liked it, so if you like me. And if you have any sort of, you know, constructive and nice questions, that's what the comments are for down below. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.